Hi, everybody. This is day 1625 and a lot going on. See, it looks like. See, where am I on? Making sure everything works, that you can hear me. Making sure everything works. Okay. All right, I'm coming on very late. Very late. So much is happening behind the scenes, and we're working on a, a lot of things, trying to keep up with developments, because this is something you have to go after if you want justice, like we do in our son's case. You have to go after it, and it requires keeping up with developments, their scheming, and getting new information, and continuing to make allies that also don't like what's going on, and will provide insight and expertise, and even older material that is useful. And so today, um, being 1,625 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss, and his unit is connected to the Walmart mass shooting case. And Richard is a whistleblower, which was kept from us, from CID, kept that from us. His commander kept that from us. FBI kept that from us. This is absolutely criminal in so many ways. Richard was a whistleblower, and they retaliated against him. They wanted to put forth a campaign. Well, they did. They did campaign a false narrative about our son, which is absolutely criminal. Not only keeping from us that Richard was a whistleblower, but also from the public, and intimidating witnesses, intimidating the unit, separating out the unit, deploying the unit. That was all by design to silence the unit. And of course, the unit did have a hand in what happened to Richard, some of them, and them keeping silent is absolutely criminal. And so, what Sergeant Major Jake Jakovitz did, absolutely criminal. He absolutely was shaking constantly, like fall leaves on a windy day. I mean, he was just, you could tell it was abnormal. Something was wrong, and he wanted to tell us something. Um, and of course, being a senior NCO, he was then in the social circle of First Sergeant Jay Paulin, who absolutely is so guilty in this, and First Sergeant Michael Ruggiero, who's also very guilty in this. Um, so, and of course, in the circle of Captain David Park, who's absolutely guilty, and um, Michael Roddick, who's Lieutenant Colonel Michael Roddick, absolutely guilty, and it goes up the chain. It goes up the chain, and the ones that have to, the buck stops here, people, are the 4-star generals, right? Are the 4-star generals. And I would go a little higher, but we know with Mealy, we know now through all of the news, all of the intel that has come out, that the four-star generals were absolutely treasonous, that they weren't obeying the orders that they were getting from the commander and chief. We know that, and they now I think they're going to be held accountable for what they did as traitors to our country and to our most valuable assets, meaning our our volunteer sons and daughters, and in our case specifically, our son, the Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier, who they retaliated against continuously and severely until they decided premeditatedly, code red, I have that up, that they would have him killed, and that they would tamper with the security. Well, the security was breached because we know that the cartel activity from the border had infiltrated into El Paso and into Fort Bliss. We know that, and we know that Richard's unit was connected to the Walmart mass shooting. And this is criminal trafficking. We know that because of hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied children being registered through Fort Bliss, and now they're mostly dead. We know the drugs on Fort Bliss. We know the 14-year-old, the young girls being pimped out on Fort Bliss. We know the breaches of security are everywhere, and that allowed the breaches of security on the night that they killed Richard, that they forcibly removed him from the barracks. And we believe the place of the murder was the arms room. And, you know, so the breach of security was allowed them to transport his remains. And we believe that the Santa Teresa airport, the jet port at Santa Teresa, the international jet port, is absolutely involved in all of this because Richard was reporting on the trafficking, right? He was reporting on the trafficking. So I'm sorry it's so late. It is really, really late, but so many developments going on that I had to share with you, and I hope I can do it. I wanted to share a video, and I don't know if I can do it. Let's see. I don't know if I have it set up. I don't know if I have it set up, but I don't think I do. And I should have done that for you, but I wanted to play the video that I just posted. And it is really fascinating because I believe it's from 2019, and it is a video of Judge Roger Rodriguez being interviewed and clearly demonstrating that he is the only MAGA judge on the border, that he was the coordinator for terrorism and homeland security, for Fort Bliss and El Paso. Wow. Wow. That was jaw dropping because you could see that that they should have listened to him. They should have listened to Trump. They should have listened to Judge Roger Rodriguez. And now we have this terrible breaches of security that are very well expressed in this case that is being exposed to the whole world right now, and that is the case of Matthew Levelsberger, with the Tesla truck that blew up in front of the Las Vegas Trump Tower. Um, the it's so fascinating because it absolutely corroborates everything that we have been saying, that there are breaches in the military, that the military has operations that are, what others would call war crimes. That's what they're discussing, and that they have a psyop that is built to confuse the public, confuse even soldiers or service members, break morale, and control narratives so that they can meet their objectives, which are not to defend the Constitution. They have their own objectives, and it absolutely goes to what I was just saying about our 4-star generals being traitors, developing their own objectives for their own enrichment. And, the evidence is all over. It's obvious. And the failure by the 44 4-star generals, I should just say the 4-star generals because they all need to be scrutinized, but by 7 audits that were not passed, trillions of dollars unaccounted for. And it goes back, a long time. And when Trump came into office the first time, and there was he met these group of criminal traitors, and it's very, very obvious now because of the mess that we're in now and what happened to Richard and what happened to this Matthew Levensberger, who was active duty, Green Beret, active duty. And the PAO, now this is what was reported, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but the PAO for the Joint Chiefs of Staff have been in communication with this group. They are so concerned about the narrative, and they're trying to, of course, confuse, break morale, which they've done, attempted to do with Sam Shoemate, who was terminal CWO, and control the narrative to meet their objectives. And their objectives is not for the American people or the defense of the Constitution for the land and the people, right? So, what the PAO for the Joint Chiefs of Staff was concerned about was that the truth would get out, right? The mess of the military would get out, and that the Americans would not want to join the military because the narrative or the truth would be that if they joined the military, they would be effed up, that they would be effed up. I mean, those aren't my words. That is what was the PAOs for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. If this gets out, if this is, you know, what's going on, then, people are going to think if you join the military, you're going to be effed up. That that's clearly that's what they do to you, right? Clearly, the truth is getting out. And when you look at these beautiful young volunteers and what they've gone through and what they're experiencing, and I can tell you right now, it's systemic because we've been talking to so many, so many. We have so many sources, and I can tell you right now that the military is not where you want to be. If you want a healthy lifestyle, um, there is a lack of esprit de corps. There is a lack of creed. There is a lack of defending the Constitution. The four-star generals are absolute traitors, failures in what they do, and they need to be stripped from their uniforms. And it's so bad that you have Fort Bliss being called a death camp. That's not me coining that. That came to us. It's a death camp. That came to us. And when you have hundreds of thousands of children that are unaccompanied being trafficked through an American military installation and that they're mostly dead, then, how can you argue against, especially when you're a Gold Star family and, you're like, well, okay, you confirmed that our son died on Fort Bliss, was murdered on Fort Bliss because that's the only option. And of course, we have all the corroborating um, evidence for that. So, what's going on? Where are his remains? Why haven't you given them to us? Why are you trying to block us? 4 years. And now, because so much information is getting out, the more and more information, the more justice that you go after, um, the more that they are driven to do the right thing. And then you get the institutional support. But why? Why does it have to be driven? Because the esprit de corps, because of the criminal activity within the military. And we know that there was criminal activity because we have the evidence and have connected Richard's unit with the Walmart mass shooting. And of course, we have that all leads to Leilani Hart, who confessed to major felony crimes. And this is the point that was being made also with the Levensberger case, is that Sam Shoemate, why would he hand in the email? Why would he give that to the FBI? Why would he say what he said? Now they want to call him a liar. Now they want him to backpedal, whatever, with all of their psyop, with all of their intimidation. And, why would he do that? Because if he lied, he would have to be arrested, right? He would have to be arrested by the FBI because it is a crime to lie to the FBI. And this is exactly what we have been saying all along. Whether it's partial lies or total lies or not a lie at all, No matter which way you look, Leilani Hart needs to be arrested. She needs to be arrested. She confessed. She confessed. She implicated her family. She implicated her son in uniform in federal crimes. And if she lied, total or partial, she needs to be arrested. And she absolutely needs to be arrested because she is a confirmed, convicted criminal with a long history. 3 strikes and you're out. A long history before Richard was even born, she was committing crimes. And so all of it leads to, it seems like every part of this case and the Walmart case and everything leads back to Leilani Hart. And I would say the common denominator, the Mormon congregation. The Mormon congregation has a lot of explaining to do. And of all of the what are they doing? If all of them have this common denominator, then they should um, uh, try to explain, just like any other religious group would have to do. And, with the access to Mexico, even through the lockdown, because of the temples being over there, with all of the connections, uh, you know, and all of the crimes, major, major felony crimes. Um, they have some explaining to do, and we've reached out to them. So, so yeah, so that is, it just in the scope of my whole life, it never really uh, dawned on me or on our family that this would be the situation. But there it is. That's where the evidence is. We're just being truthful. And, the prime suspect of the prime suspect of the murder of our son is Dallas Hart, Richard's platoon leader. And the fraud and the tampering with evidence and forgery and all of that is all part of it. His father being at the VA and the IDS Pueblo is also part of it, disgustingly part of it, because there's so much fraud involved in addition to the trafficking. And of course, when you have trafficking and illegal activity like this, it you need to have money laundering, and and there's so much money that these cartel groups make, and because of our border lax, and at and this political group, it makes you wonder why they're so lax when it comes to the border. And it's not about letting people in. It's about the flow of the cartel merchandise, right? It's it's about trafficking. That's what this is all about. And you know, because America is very we're have always been open to um, letting people into our country. And this is really in El Paso about allowing the criminal trafficking, which is human trafficking too. And so it's all about crime. And so it makes you really wonder, and it only takes a little bit to understand it, right? It doesn't take 4 years. It just takes a little bit to understand the billions of dollars in narcotics alone, the hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied children. Of course, they're taken. Of course, they're taken from families and brought into this country and then processed on our military base. I mean, God help us. God, Christ have mercy. Lord have mercy. Christ have mercy, right? Um, so it is, and then of course the child corn, the the videotapes, um, and all the weapons, the ammunition. The ammunition is really big, and we have evidence after evidence after evidence and other cases that absolutely demonstrate and corroborate what we're saying with the tactical move storage units. So, it's all there. And then you have this judge that's a MAGA judge that was warning back, one of the few, if not the only, in 2017, 2019, that was saying, look, the cartel is coming north. We have got to stop this. They are a terrorist group. That video, Judge Roger Rodriguez is calling the cartels, not differentiating between the terroristic organizations and cartels. And, absolutely calling out that they are a threat, that this is an emergency situation. And what did you have? You had a media and a group of politicians that absolutely were lying through their teeth. Um, and look at where we're at now. President Trump was right. Judge Roger Rodriguez was right. And now it's in our military and it's on our military base. And it's so bad that it's being called a death camp. And so, therefore, I have to say, look, it is absolutely justified to shut it down. Absolutely justified to shut it down. I don't know how even a reorganization of it would restrain the evil. I don't know. I think it would have to be shut down at this point, because there ha it's just too close to the border, and there's just too much flow of money from our DOD that look, the VA needs to be shut down, because what they've done with the VA and its grant system and its IDS Pablo system and everything there, it's just criminal how they've twisted it and misused it and turned it into part of their criminal enterprise. And so, and then we have lives of our children at risk and being ruined. And, it's not just Richard, there's so many. Um, it needs to be shut down, in my opinion. When I look at, I'm a math person. When I look at the math, I'm like, oh man, uh, it needs to be shut down. I don't see a solution here. I don't see a solution at this time. Um, there's such a demand, and where there's a demand, people find a way, and and we don't have the esprit de corps right now. We don't have the love for our country. We do. I'm absolutely convinced that we have love for our country, but I think we need to grow to what that means. Um, I think we have some learning to do, and that takes some time. And that's why the temptations are so big when it comes to a military base being that close to the border and hurting our country so much with in so many different ways. You're talking billions and billions of dollars every which way, and that financing evil people in their political endeavors. It's helping to finance evil people in their criminal and evil endeavors, and even through politics, um, which brings even more harm. So the consequences, um, the force multipliers of evil is too great. It's too great. And I think those that love this country, we need to learn how to be a force multiplier for good, like this election was. There was so many people that wanted order that they could not rig, right? It was too big to rig. So I really appreciate knowing that there is someone there in El Paso, a MAGA judge in El Paso, that was, even through the roughest times with Beto O'Rourke. And I want to make that very clear, um, that there is a political Veronica Escobar, Beto O'Rourke, when you see how they participated in the Walmart mass shooting, they are so up to no good, y'all. They are so up to no good. And that's what I'm talking about. How can they be funded? They just can't be funded because they just mean us so much harm. And I personally met with Veronica a couple times, and I can tell you this, before I even met her, she meant us harm. She meant us harm. And I have evidence for that. So, you know, so that, just the funding of evil is, we need more MAGA judges. We need more people that will stand up for what is right. And I really pray and hope and wish that Judge Roger Rodriguez will get into or be appointed into a huge, huge position, and that many more will become understanding that they need to be MAGA, make America great again, that they need to defend the Constitution, that they need to be for the people, that they need to be for the defense of this country. And that's for all of those individuals that have come into our country. My mother is an immigrant. My grandparents were all immigrants. Yeah, my dad was first born in the United States. So I absolutely understand about all that. But we don't have a country for them, for us, if we don't have security. And if we're bringing in the cartel, if we're bringing in the cartel and we're letting them run with impunity and finance politicians to do their bidding, then we're in big trouble. We won't have a country. And so this, of course, is about Richard, but it is absolutely about all the other that we have discovered. And when you see this Levelsberger, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, this case that is so that they don't, we have someone mentioned to me, and I thought it was really good. We have like this fast food version of investigations now where, it's like a drive-through investigation. Oh, that's a lone shooter. That's they have a manifesto lone shooter, and that's it. Let's wrap it up. And this is our fast food drive investigation. Of clearly, that was going on with the Walmart mass shooting case, and now it's going on with this Tesla truck case, right? And so many other cases. They don't want you to see the evidence. They don't want you to take the time to hear the evidence. Yet you have those like Joe Spencer that don't want you to see it, don't want you to hear it, but they want to drag it on and on and on and get millions of dollars, for, oh, we have to go through so much evidence. No, he is absolutely interfering, intentionally interfering for personal gain to drag out the Walmart mass shooting case. And so they'll drag it out, doing nothing except for, for their own personal gain. But they won't want to put it in the court for you to see the evidence, for you to hear the witnesses, and the circumstances surrounding the incident. And that is what we were told was a drive-through investigation. They just want to wrap it up real quick, nothing to see here. So, and of course, they really tried that with Richard's case, but Richard's case is ongoing, and we're very grateful for that. And that's a nightmare for the prime suspects. Richard's case is absolutely ongoing, and it is absolutely now very clear that he's a whistleblower, and more of the public is realizing that he's a whistleblower and that he was targeted and that he was murdered at the border, right where hundreds of thousands of children that were unaccompanied are now mostly dead, and where there is, in his, and where there is cartel active, with all the narcotics, with all the weapons and ammunition, and that Richard was assigned the same lawyer as El Chapo's son, or no, El Mayo, that was arrested by who? With who? El Chapo's son, but by who? That whole thing, where is the investigation on that? Because we've been looking into it, and there's no like extradition, there's no really order to arrest. The whole flight was tampered with, the plane numbers were tampered with. Something is very, very stinky about the arrest, or the arrest of El Mayo and El Chapo's son. And it was in the newspaper, El Paso Inc., interviewing the FBI agent Morales and saying that is his greatest accomplishment. I think that's what he said. That's their greatest accomplishment. Are you kidding me? That was so screwed up. That was so messed up. And that's your greatest accomplishment. And then El Mayo's lawyer was the same attorney that was assigned to Richard. Something is really fishy. Something is really stinky, and we know that was all a frame job in what they're trying to accomplish with this article. I don't know. Um, I don't know. And then it goes right to like Francis, right? What's his name? The guy that owns the planes, right? It goes to the guy that owns the planes. That it's like what it's yeah, once you know this stuff, um you just shake your head and you're wondering what is El Pasoing trying to cover themselves with? I don't know. I Yeah. Um Everything is not what we think it is. There is an underground, or what do they call it, the deep state. There's like this deep state thing going on. Um, and I can tell you right now that all indications are that that's very, very true. There's a deep state going on, and they're covering themselves up, and they seem to be very, very much like a cartel, which means, by the coordinator of terrorism and homeland security program on Fort Bliss, according to him, this kind of criminal syndicate activity is no different from a terroristic group, a terroristic organization. So we're being, manipulated by, like, to me it seems, because if they're trafficking, if they're doing all of this cartel activity, then you can't differentiate them from a terroristic organization. So, think about that for a minute. Just think about that when it comes to the four-star generals, when it comes to Fort Bliss, when it comes to uh, this strange activity of the leadership, the illegal judges that are not even judges, the the medical examiner that's illegal. What happened with Bill Hicks? I mean, now he's out, but he should be arrested. Why does he just get to leave and, oh, let me try to be reappointed somewhere? What's going on here? Why can he get away? Why is there a law for them and a law for us? Because let me tell you, if I lied to the FBI, if I was lying on these live streams, they would absolutely charge me. So it is interesting when I say all things go to Leilani Hart, and Leilani Hart was confessing of the worst type of crimes against children, the very things that Richard was reporting on. And why isn't she arrested? And, of course, Danae is now on the most wanted list again. So in 4 weeks, what is it, 3 weeks? She's been on the most wanted list. She's a fugitive. She's a fugitive. Um, it's interesting. Sorry that I don't totally get it or get excited about her, them wanting to arrest her. I'm thinking, okay, what did she do? What did she say? What did she reveal that now they're upset? I mean, um, yeah, that's just me, thinking outside the box, I guess, thinking outside the box. So we will see. Um, we have what, 12 more days? Today's Epiphany. Oh, and it's 1 o'clock, and I forgot to wish everybody a happy Epiphany. I did post it. Um, Amazing. Where's the bulletin? We had an amazing bulletin. I have it right here from today. And I'm just with the wise men. The wise men. It's so beautiful. Yeah. Wise men. Um, they know who to give their gifts to. They know who to go to. And it's just amazing, amazing thing to meditate on and to think about and to understand that um, justice and righteousness and all that is good in this world is open to all of us. That's what the light is open to all of us. If we just realize it and follow it. Yeah, so this is just a wonderful day, a wonderful season coming in. Christmas is over. You can pack up your lights now, right? um, but no, Epiphany, it gets lighter and lighter from here. And we need to reach out for the truth. We need to reach out for what is good, what is beautiful, what is praiseworthy. This is the time. So thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful for everybody. And we will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.